Finding fin. Have you ever wondered where the fin whales breed? Well, that was a question that my partner and I had. To begin, there is an overall lack of knowledge on where fin whales breed. This is due to certain situations such as strenuous weather conditions, lack of migratory data, and infeasibility of certain methods. This led to the question of what are the best methods used to assess movement and breeding behavior of fin whales. We decided to collect various data on methods on where Balanoptera physalis breeds. The first method that we came across is direct observation. Direct observation is the collection of information using human senses. Some pros of direct observation are that many people may want to participate in whale watching. This may be seen as citizen science and is cheap and effective. It also can be a fun recreational activity for those participating. The con is that there may be false detections and an overall lack of human attention span, and there could be human error. The second method that we came across is camera tags. Camera tags are a device attached on the external region of an animal that is equipped with a camera device that can be triggered to take photographs and or videos. Some pros of camera tags are that they are customizable when pictures are taken. The tags also can record heart rate, swimming speed, depth, light level, temperature, and external sound, and settings allowed for still images and recordings. Some cons are that physical damage and current exposure create a high rate of loss for external instrument on marine mammals. This is essentially the camera tag becoming lost and no data can be collected. They cannot capture a complete view of the animal's environment and behavior. It is just what the camera can see at that given moment. There's also typically a 45-second warm-up period before taking photos. This can be a large window that can lose out on some important data in that 45 seconds.
Hi, my name is Aiden DeTurris, and today I will be talking to you about our third technique, acoustic detection, which is arguably the most complicated of our techniques that we are using to find the fin whales in their breeding grounds. So acoustic detection is essentially the usage of hydrophones and acoustic tags on individuals to locate and determine their whereabouts. Hydrophones are simply underwater devices that pick up on any noises made underwater, and they're used with acoustic tags to specifically parse out where whale calls are. So each fin whale has a unique call, and by attaching an acoustic tag to the whales, we're able to determine the call of an individual, and then the hydrophone picks up the call underwater and is able to tell us where this individual is at what time. This is especially important with pregnant females, as it allows us to determine where they might be during both mating and birthing seasons. So that would be a huge factor in helping us determine where they're reproducing. This data is highly precise thanks to the usage of the acoustic tags. So it allows us to be very certain of an individual's whereabouts and incredibly accurate in the place, so we can better be sure of where they are. Another advantage is that hydrophones are passive. The hydrophones are simply put underwater and they're attached to buoys or shorelines, and they have no effect on the whales. The whales most likely will never even encounter one, so there's no physiological harm that they experience. And while acoustic tag insertion isn't necessarily passive, because we do have to insert the tag into the whale, the size of the spear gun and the tag are so minimal that there's no notable long-term harm or behavioral modification within the individuals tagged. Some cons that should be noted for this method are that low frequency vibrations and the flow noise generated by the currents on continental shelves generally interferes with the detection of the hydrophones. So there's a lot of background noise, and sometimes the hydrophones will pick that up, and that can prevent the data from being correctly captured. And additionally, movement can kind of distort that. So there's a lot of noise underwater, so we can expect to see not 100% accuracy or precision, at least at first while we're collecting data, but we expect over time for this method to be better. Additionally, it's also expensive and time intensive to set up, so that is a con of this method. The fourth method that I'll be talking to you guys about today is satellite data. So essentially we have satellites that orbit the globe, and they're able to take real-time pictures of things that are happening in areas that maybe people can't get to. So they can cover the entire ocean. So if we know roughly where the gray whales are at a certain time, this satellite is going to be able to potentially pick up the high contrast image of a whale breaching the surface of the ocean. So as long as it's a high contrast image, it's highly likely to be detected, and it allows us to get better imaging of places that humans might not be able to get to. This imaging is also able to be used in conjunction with satellite tags. So again, we insert the tags into the whales. There's no real physiological harm in that due to the small tag size. The internal tags are also less likely to become lost or displaced. So we use those to locate them. They breach the surface. The satellite zooms in on where they are, takes the picture. So again, that's super good for places that human beings can't get to for direct observation. One thing that should be noted as a con, though, is that if it's not a highly contrasting image, so obviously gray whales, duller in color, or fin whales, they're gray in color. They're going to be less likely to be contrasting darker ocean waters. But because the satellite tags are inserted, they'll be able to tell when they're reaching the surface. It'll zoom in. As long as there's some level of contrast there, the satellite can tell us exactly where they are when they breach. However, that false contrast might result in some false detections. So that should be noted. So finally, with these methods in mind, we do have a recommendation. We believe that a combined approach utilizing both acoustic detection and satellite data to determine the fin whale's location is the best option. This is because the satellite data will allow us to get to areas that we can't with direct observation, while the acoustic data will allow us to pinpoint the whales. So once we have a site narrowed down based on this is where we're hearing the whale calls during this time period that is marked as the breeding reproductive season, we can then have the satellites and direct observation focus on these areas rather than having to use a super large sample size and comb through months and months of data that's not really relevant to us. So with these three methods in mind, we believe this is the best way to determine where the fin whales are reproducing. Thank you.